I didn't finish it though. I didn't make it. I finished up to like midway through 8. So sorry guys.
I got to chapter 8, so I'm missing that 8 and 9. That I'm finished.
I feel like it took a few chapters to get going.
Yeah, I kind of was lost in the beginning. Like I thought I knew who was talking, and I was like, wait, who is telling the story? I feel like I'm still confused, to be honest.
Yeah, I was a bit confused, but I was like listening to it, and then I was reading the Cliff Notes summary after.
Oh,
I pretty much got everything, so I'm like, okay.
I almost did Dark Notes or Cliff Notes, because the beginning, I'm telling you, I started listening and I'm like, I don't, like, I get it, but I only get like one sentence, and then I'm like, what are you saying? Who is talking? What's going on? And my sister was telling me about that one dog, and I was like, oh yeah, I see the word dog, but I was confused. I was like, oh god.
The way they say
then,
meow.
but then I started reading
like
the actual book, and I get it. Here and there, there's some parts that I'm like, you know what, this doesn't sound important. It's okay if I just could, ignore and get the gist of it.
I read it twice, the beginning part.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, because I got it on the Kindle, then I got my other book after, but I had started reading it on the Kindle, and when I read it, I didn't get it, but that's why I wanted the hard copy too, because I feel like it makes me focus more. And so then when I read it again, a little slower, and I was more rested, I'm like, okay, I kind of see it. But I did read the beginning part twice, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, someone else is telling the story. We're not actually like in it yet.
So I was at chapter 4. But I was actually listening to it while reading it, so I was like, okay, no distractions. And I mean, I got a little bit, but I was like, who the fuck is in someone's room and someone's yelling? And I was like, wait, what?
I was weird, yeah.
Looking up at the meow.
She was having nightmares, right?
Yeah.
He or she? So he.
There's a cat.
Yeah, see, that's also what it is.
I thought at first it was a girl, but then towards the end they were talking about Lockwood, right?
That's who was talking about, like the first. Well, it's all from his point of view, which is strange, and it makes me wonder if he has more to do, like if there's a reason why we're seeing it through his eyes, because right now he seems like a random character and not even one that is like he kind of. I don't really like him. Like he's kind of making his servant like sit there and tell him a story.
Yeah.
I didn't really like, I was like, okay, why is this guy the one who were from his point of view? But maybe it'll make more sense later, because I was just kind of like, okay, well, I liked it, once the servant started telling the story. But up until then I was like, yeah, Heathcliff seems like a really bad host and everyone seems grumpy, but also you seem like kind of ridiculous, like expecting, I don't know, like he also didn't come off well. I felt like he was being really judgy. So
I see, I forget who said it, but someone said like everyone's like terrible in this book and compared to other classic books I've read. Everyone's like, oh, propriety and like you have to be nice, you have to do this because what will everyone think? And this one I was like, dang, they're going at it, especially like at the beginning with Heathcliff and Lockwood. Like I felt like Lockwood should get the hint that he wasn't really wanted there, but he kept coming back, and I'm like, that's weird. And then Heathcliff, was pretty austere and just like the fighting that Lockwood saw between Heathcliff and his daughter-in-law was like, whoa, this is definitely like very different, and you could tell there's some deep-rooted family troubles there.
I was wondering, like, who is his son, like, or is his son that other guy's
his
kid?
son's dead.
Yeah, but I was wondering, is it truly his son, or was it that other baby that was it Hindley or?
That's Hindley is the brother of Catherine or Kathy, the older brother that like inherits the house after the dad dies. And
so with the
his son is the one that's now living with Heathcliff, and Heathcliff like kind of like dismisses him and like ignores him, and that's why I think that the servant was like, he should have like inherited everything, and like he should have, you know, had so much, but like it seems like now he's just like, you know, doesn't have anything, but we don't know how or why.
Because there was also a baby. I don't know if you got to this part.
I think
that part I haven't gotten to yet.
Oh, is that towards the end?
I think so.
Oh, never mind.
I don't know. There's like one of the characters. One of the characters had a wife.
I tried to do a family tree, and it was a mess. A mess. Family tree, because they're like, this person is cousins with this person.
I literally was just jotting one down.
Horrible.
Tell us, Judith.
Horrible. No, that made no sense to me. I completely ignored it because that was like they were talking more in the present. So then I ignored that part, and I was like, you know what? Eventually, I'll go back and I'll reread it, and maybe I'll understand a little bit more. But I just continued with the story, and I understood that Mr. Earnshaw was the old master, and then he brought a kid, a gypsy. I think the gypsy is Heathcliff, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah. And then, oh my gosh, my throat. We have Kathy and Heathcliff were friends, and then Hindley doesn't like Heathcliff. Earnshaw dies. Hindley was sent off to college or something.
Came back with a wife.
Yeah. Kathy and Heathcliff were like, they went to somewhere to, I don't know where they went. I don't know the specific household. It was the Linton. Yeah. And that's where Kathy was kept, because they're like, oh, you're Earnshaw. Get rid of this little, you know,
well,
like
I
pretty
think
much saying, like,
she injured her ankle or got bit or something. So they like nursed her back to health there, and then
for 5 months though. Like, what the?
That happened though.
Crazy.
If you read those like Jane Austen type books, like they stay and like recover for like months. Like it's actually like back then, like people just were got sick and they were really weak, and they had to like recover, and they didn't have modern medicine and stuff. So and then it seems
I guess, they don't have like cars really.
Well,
they have like a horse, right?
And seems like she got some new attitudes and clothes, and she's changed.
Yeah, she came back, and Heathcliff was struggling with like her return, right? Because she's like, oh, you're dirty, or you know, but yet that's where I'm like, I know she has new manners or whatever, but she was excited to see him, but then he was like I feel like he was bad, and then he didn't like that she was over here all like posh or whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna reread it because I was like, what?
And then he tried to get all dressed up like per the advice of the servant, and then Hindley made fun of him, and he beat up Hindley.
I think I messed up.
The whole thing with Catherine's like a real trip to me, because I feel like she's not really a good person, and she's kind of seeing like, oh, by being like, you know, hoity-toity and a lady, I can, you know, get more things that I want. But then she also, I feel she loves Heathcliff, and Heathcliff loves her, but she's also kind of mean to him. Like, you know, I felt like, you know, if they were really at least friends, she could defend him a little bit more, at least verbally. And then the part where she was talking to the servant said like she would be disgraced or something by marrying Heathcliff. And I did feel bad for him then, even though like I don't think he's a very good person either. I just felt like that was unfortunate, because I feel like he definitely has a self-esteem thing. Go ahead, Judith.
I was just gonna say, so then they're saying that Heathcliff married Kathy, or did they name their kid Kathy? Like, is there double, like juniors? I'm confused.
They're kind of like, well, they're implying, they said Heathcliff had a wife, but we don't know for sure if it is Kathy or not.
Okay.
The books, right? The books say Catherine Earnshaw, then Linton, then Catherine Heathcliff. So it could be that maybe something happened to Linton and she married him after. Maybe Heathcliff did something to Linton. I don't know. They took him out to the moor and got him lost. So I do feel like they ended up together somehow. And that's why he's so like, that's why he was shouting at the window, Kathy, Kathy, come back, when Lockwood had the nightmare. So it really is very tragic. But we have to find out how she died and also what happened to Linton, because as far as I understood, like they did get married. So you know, it's kind of like we have to see what happens there. So love triangle already.
She does end up with all the last names, huh? I just realized that I didn't click the Linton one. So Earnshaw was like her maiden
name.
Yeah, and then there was Linton and then Heathcliff. So like this is Heathcliff. Oh my god.
Or it could be Kathy Heathcliff is Heathcliff's daughter. Like, and that's all it is.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking too. That's I'm like, is it two Kathy? Two Heathcliff?
There's definitely two Kathys, at least.
Okay.
Because we know the present day there's a Kathy who's young, who's Heathcliff's daughter. And then there's, or daughter-in-law, right? Yeah, daughter-in-law.
Yeah, daughter-in-law.
And then we know there's a Kathy in the past who was Catherine Earnshaw.
Oh.
And she was her mom, wasn't she?
Unclear. We don't know who the mom was.
Oh.
We don't know who Heathcliff's wife was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The daughter-in-law?
Yeah, you're right. We don't know who her parents are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she would be Heathcliff because she married his son, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I didn't put that part together. I guess I just thought like it must be the first one because of the books that were stored together.
Heathcliff is first or last name.
I'm very curious now.
I assume it's his last name, but I don't know.
I think they said somewhere it was his first and last name.
Oh.
Heathcliff?
No, like just the one, I think.
Like he just has one name?
I think so, maybe because he was adopted. Yeah, poor Heathcliff. She says it would degrade me to marry Heathcliff. That's where I was like, oh, that's like kind of, that's rough.
But I feel like, you know how it's like they start off as friends and they hate each other and then they love each other. That's what I'm assuming. But there's two Kathys and I totally missed that. So maybe
I missed that too.
I don't know. It's interesting.
I think the thing that's most interesting about the book so far to me is the way that the author is sort of commenting on racism without really knowing that she's doing it. Like without, I don't know, like she's not explicitly saying it, but like we know that Heathcliff is like, you know, not considered to be, you know, like acceptable, and he's like either a gypsy or he's dark skinned of some kind, and everyone looks down on him, and even Kathy like considers him dirty and like considers him to be wild, and is like, and all of the characters like treat him as lesser, and yeah, like we're not really like totally going into it because I feel like maybe the author like doesn't even like know what I don't know, like it's not explicit totally, but like it's kind of interesting in a novel like from all the way back then that they're kind of touching on that.
Well, also how Hindley makes Heathcliff go work, you know, in the fields and like do hard manual labor versus the rest of them are not doing anything like that.
She did mention, I think it was Miss Dean. Was it Mrs. Dean? Is that the housekeeper? Miss Dean. She was telling Heathcliff like, you're fit for a prince in disguise. Who knows? But your father was emperor of China, and your mother an Indian queen. So that's what gave me the idea that, I mean, obviously, I didn't get the part where it's dirty because of the skin, but that makes sense because they're clearly not light, or he's not light like
He's not fair skinned.
Kathy and Hindley and all of them, because he was obviously he's not born in the family, so I can see that.
Yeah, and I think that even if he actually like physically is like covered in dirt, like the connotation is that he's like wild and like uncivilized. That's bad.
Yeah.
When like I don't know, maybe he's just, doesn't believe in societal conventions, like, but the way that they're kind of framing it is like, oh, like he's this other who's like not right and like uncivilized and all that.
Yeah, because Heathcliff could have like a really good reason to be, inhospitable and things like that. We just don't know yet. But by reading what the other characters think of him, we already might be characterizing him in a certain way because of like what we're reading about him.
And also, like, how did he get the house? Like, did he marry Catherine and then she died and then he got it?
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Because right now it doesn't seem like that would happen, given that Hindley is lord of the house or whatever. Proper word.
So crazy.
Yeah, so Hindley brought his wife on, and then the wife had a son named Hareton or whatever. And then there's all this drama. So I'm just like wondering about the son, because then the wife died. And I'm just like, is Heathcliff's son actually Hareton? Did he like take him under his wing, maybe, or adopt him? Or did he have his own son?
But then why would they say that his son is dead when Hareton, I don't remember, he's like right there.
Oh, is Hareton still there?
He's in the present. Like that's why Nellie, Miss the servant. That's why she was like, he's been like so like like he doesn't know what he could have had, and it's such a shame. Because he lives with Heathcliff now. Like he's in that house with it's Heathcliff, Kathy, his daughter-in-law, that her I'm forgetting their names, but the son of Hindley,
Okay.
and the crotchety servant guy, Joseph.
Okay.
Also in the past, like he's there both times.
Okay, so then he did have his own son.
So Hareton's the baby that got out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he has a good relationship with any of them in the present, so. So it's like in the end, there's only a few people left, and we have to learn like what happened to everyone.
Oh my god.
Like a bunch of random people left living in this house, like all miserable.
Yeah, like how?
Complex web.
But yeah, it definitely it really wasn't until we got into the servant telling the story that like I was able to like settle into it, because I really wasn't enjoying all the parts with the Longfelt. I'm forgetting what's his name. the neighbor, the nosy judgy neighbor, our protagonist. I didn't enjoy anything with him. Lockwood, yes. I didn't enjoy his perspective very much because he's pretty unpleasant. So once it switched to the servant telling the story, I got more into it.
Yeah, for sure.
And
that was more of a story.
Does Lockwood like have a job? Like he's renting this room?
Yeah, we don't know. I don't think he said. Maybe he doesn't have one. He's just a gentleman. Back then you could just like be a gentleman and own property and have some servants and have some people that worked for you or whatever, but you didn't have to work.
Just move around a bit.
Like in the I'm forgetting what I'm thinking of, but I'm thinking of something where like maybe it was a show or it was a book. It's another book I'm reading, and it's set in the Gilded Age, and they all are judging people that have real jobs because they're like, oh, we're not supposed to do that because that's like middle class. Like we're upper class, so like we have to go to the opera and we have to, like do go to tea and like we have to, like that's our life. We don't work.
Mm-hmm.
That
sounds nice.
Sounds nice, but it also sounds like pointless.
A little boring.
It sounds like it'd be nice to experience that for like
a little bit,
3 months,
Yeah.
and then like
Vacation.
I'd be like, oh god, this is so pointless.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know more of the story, so I hope we find out soon. I feel like there's so many missing pieces already.
It's very complex. I've read this before. I mean, I've gotten like the details, but I know like the main things that happen. But it's just like, and unlike other books I've read, like the relationships are so complex to me. And that's what I think is the interesting part. And it's very angsty. Like it makes me not depressed reading it, but it just makes you feel like heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
A lot of powerful things. Like I don't know. I felt bad when Heathcliff disappeared, and then seeing how they all were treated when they were little, and just the sadness in the house versus someone could, at least if you're not happy with your family, you don't have to like hate them so much. Things like that,
I think it's a really impressive book to have been written by someone who only ever wrote one book and died in their 20s and lived like a very sheltered life. She must have had like a really crazy imagination and a lot of empathy to be able to describe characters in situations like this.
For sure.
She died at 20?
Like in her 20s, I believe. Let me look it up. All of the Bronte sisters died pretty young, but I think she died first.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit. This is her only book, it said, which I was surprised because which one wrote like all the other books? Charlotte?
That's Charlotte. Charlotte, but Charlotte died at 38.
She had more time.
Let me get to Emily. Emily died at age 30. And yeah, she only ever wrote one book. Pretty crazy. I mean, she like wrote some poems, but this is her only book. This is literally, look at this is so sad. Look at the Wikipedia. This death.
Oh my gosh.
That's her life. Like,
imagine writing back then, everything by hand.
But like this book is still popular even today, so that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
It's also kind of spooky.
I do like that part too.
It was giving me that, and I was like, wait, what am I reading?
I guess Halloween.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Is like at first I'm like, are these the nightmares? I'm like, is this actually happening? And it's like, oh, and then I woke up. I was like, oh, crazy.
Like the scene where where Kathy grabs his hand, and am I wrong? Did I get this right? That he like drags her hand until it bleeds or whatever? Like that was like
so.
What a description.
Like he's like dragging it over the jagged glass on the window pane or something.
Oh yeah, because he wasn't wanting to make her like, oh, he was going like this on it.
Yeah. That's like a horror That's a horror book.
Yeah, that was very visual.
I could definitely picture it. Or even when they dropped the baby, I was like, oh my gosh, like infanticide, that's really bad. But then Heathcliff caught it, so. But then I was like, when it said like how Heathcliff was looking up and he realized he could have had his revenge, then I was like, oh my gosh, Heathcliff would have let the baby drop and die if he knew what was happening. So it was just like really, really strong things happening.
I definitely see a lot of parallels to like later kinds of genres and characters and books.
More modern books.
Yeah, like the kind of like gothic emo sort of like vampire romance kind of stuff. Even it's not vampire, but like that kind of like, you know, tortured characters and
Tortured soul in a big house alone. Yeah.
Can't wait to actually read the other 2 chapters because I don't know. Maybe I'll understand. Maybe I
pretty
won't.
good. Yeah. I got into it. I was going to try to spread out my reading over the 3 days, and then I started reading. I'm like, oh, I'm going to finish it, and I finished on Sunday instead of Monday.
Okay.
They have the
crammed it all today.
Same. I was like, ooh. I kept telling myself I was gonna read it earlier, and then I kept staring at. I would carry the book everywhere, and then I just didn't. It was like eventually, nope, I had to do it today. And I was like, that I don't have time.
I was like, oh, I have all this time. I'm gonna read 2 chapters, and 2, then 4, and then I'll just need 2 more at the end of the day. And I only read 2, and then today I read the rest.
The holiday caught me off guard. I forgot that the holiday was Monday. And I was like, wait, that means I have to like be done in the meeting tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have time for that. I have work.
Also was very confused because I was at work, and then I was like, okay, I have a meeting. Then I'm like, okay, no, I don't because it's not Monday. And then I was like, oh, Tuesday book club, like I have to get home, which I did, but I was just like, my mind was very confused.
Same. I almost think we should have maybe pushed it to Wednesday.
I almost postponed it, but I was
but
like,
I thought
no.
of that like late today.
I was like, I was gonna do it pretty last minute, and I'm like, only because I'm starting it right now, that's so unfair, just because I started late. But I was like, you know what? No, let's just carry on, and if we have to cut the chapter shorter or the section shorter, then we can do that for the next section if you guys want. But I think the next one is 70 instead of 80. Let me see.
I do like the language too. It's like a little bit more challenging to read the Old English.
Reminds me of
Sounds yeah, it's like a little puzzle. I like figuring it out. And it sounds more dramatic.
Like 10 pages less. It's 76 pages. So chapter 10 to volume 2, chapter 2.
Chapter 10, volume 1 to volume 2?
Volume 2, chapter 2.
Volume 2, chapter 2. Got it.
Yeah.
Volume 1, chapter 10 to volume 2, chapter 2. Good.
So don't read chapter 2 or
don't. Oh wait, good.
Oh wait, or don't read 3.
Be careful. I read it.
No, you have to read chapter 2. Do not read chapter 3. That's why I didn't say chapter 3.
Not volume 2, chapter 3. Perfect.
So don't go to the chapter 3.
I'll try my best.
Feels like a Bible. I did not think it was this thick. I'm so amazed, and I was like, damn it, if it was smaller.
I was looking for it on Amazon because I was like, I should get an actual book. And then I saw, and there was like one that had 140 pages. I'm like, that's not right.
It's
You have to be careful
tiny.
because it might have small font. Yeah, that's what I went to look at Barnes and Noble, because sometimes you get the classics and it's like tiny, tiny font.
Yeah. And
But
then
there's also a
another
lot of
one
editions.
that was 600 pages. I'm like, that seems more right. But
I don't
then
like
I was
this one.
reminded by Juan, he's like, you have a Kindle. I'm like, okay, fine.
It was only 99 cents on the Kindle, so I got
Yeah, it was.
this cover. I feel like it looks spooky and it has like that cool feel to it.
Yeah, but I might still get the book because I feel like I'm getting lost on the Kindle. Like I can't focus.
Whoever goes to Barnes and Noble, this is my last month of being a paid member. So if you guys pretend to be me, you can get the 10% off.
Nice.
Okay, I don't have a volume 2.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused.
I'm like looking
no.
and it's like,
Let me check
no,
that.
why not just
Hold
keep going
on.
chapters? But I noticed there's like a little N2. I don't know if you guys can see that at the
Hold on.
bottom.
Let me look at the Audible. Let's see if it says
Because on
volume.
Audible, they're off too. They're off by a chapter.
Oh,
Yeah.
what does it say?
See, mine don't say chapters. Mine just say like Roman numerals.
No, well, yeah, Roman numerals are chapters.
Yeah, but like I don't have another chapter 2.
Mine's
Go
about
to
page
chapter-
171.
What page is it?
Mine's on page 171, but I have a different edition.
Go to chapter 16.
What does that look like?
Like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
XIV.
XIV.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have
mine
that.
doesn't have volumes
14?
either.
Is the first XIV is
Yeah,
first line
so-
as soon as I had
Yes,
perused this.
yes.
That's it.
So
That's where I stopped.
No. What's after that chapter?
What is after that one? Let's see. A couple pages later. Oh, that's a long chapter. Oh, XV.
Well, I guess
That's one page on 179.
so. That to me, another week over is the volume 2, chapter 1. I wonder why that happened like that. So
Oh,
then,
that's volume 2 already.
yeah. So then after that, where it says go to the next chapter, about 12 o'clock that night,
About 12 o'clock.
that's chapter 2. So read that one. Don't read the following chapter.
Okay.
Could in your
It's the
Instagram
XV11.
post, could you say like stop at chapter last chapter to read is like that starts with these 3 words or something?
Oh, the
Yeah.
sentence that, yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna number like 3. I was gonna continue off of like Crystal's was going off of, and then I was gonna put the beginning like 3 words or something.
Yeah. Because I don't know
So,
on the Audible, it
yeah.
just literally lists. It's just
Yeah, I
all
saw
No, but
chapters.
I noticed on the Audible, it's like a chapter off.
Yeah,
Is
no, it's a
it?
chapter off, but what I'm saying is I don't know if it's gonna do the volumes or not. It might be like yours, Crystal, where it
Mm-mm.
just keeps going.
Yeah.
Same
I
with the
think so.
Kindle. It's on.
We should have all gotten the same book.
Yeah, it's just
There's
like
too
chapters.
many.
Five
I
different.
know. It's confusing. I'm glad you mentioned that though.
I didn't even know.
Okay.
That'd
So
be like
I'll
we
post
would-
it.
chapter like 18.
It is.
Don't read 17, I guess.
That was 14, 15, 16. Read 16, don't read 17.
Okay.
XIV is 14, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
XIV. So then the 15, then 16, yeah, don't read 17. I'll still put the little first 3 words of the chapters.
Thank you.
Yeah. You can do that.
I can't believe we would read complex books like this in high school all the time. Like, how did we do that?
I think we
Why
just
would they do
literally
that to our little brains?
we just finished it. Like we didn't pay attention all the time. I think.
Yeah.
Like we paid attention to the ones we liked.
Mm-hmm.
And like the one I hated the most was Don Quixote. And I straight up the whole time while I was reading that, I was just like
Spacing out,
yeah.
thinking about what you were doing that day.
Yeah.
The one I had troubles with was Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, but I really liked the Jungle.
Hated that book.
I liked The Jungle, and I liked Crime and Punishment a lot.
I didn't like any of them in high school, but Karina knows. A Book in College by Joan Didion.
The most hated book.
Which
what was
one?
it called, Katie? What was your favorite book called?
It was about nothing. I don't even remember what it was about. It was just like gibberish.
I tried rereading it some years ago to just like see, like, now that I'm older, maybe I could get into it, but I couldn't, Katie. I'm just like, nope. I finally got rid of it.
And she's supposed to be a good writer.
It's like Where I Was or something. What once was, and look it up. We read it for California history. It was tough to get through.
I think one of my favorite ones, which like I actually can't believe that it was picked because it was actually like really good, but also really like raunchy, was 100 Years of Solitude.
Oh yeah.
It was so good though. I was like, didn't have to force me to read that one.
I feel like you have to be in the mood for it.
Someone pitched that for this club one time, but I was too triggered from high school.
Yeah. Did you hate it? I thought it was really good, but it was obviously like a lot of incest. So
yeah, that's in his writing.
It's like Game of Thrones.
A lot of characters.
Yeah.
Judith's like.
Well, I like Game of Thrones. I'm watching the House of Dragons.
Yeah, it's like the Targaryens, like for generations and generations.
Yeah, Aegon Targaryen. Yeah, I want to rewatch it, but maybe I'll read the 100 Years. Not because I want to read about incest. It's just you guys said
The Love in the Time of Cholera too was an interesting one. It's not as long too. But yeah, the 100 Years of Solitude, like I liked bits of it, but I never actually have read the whole thing. I had to read it for a Spanish class at Poly, but I do read slower in Spanish, so it's kind of like getting left behind. So I started reading the English one on the side, and then the paper was due because it was already end of term. So I just like wrote the paper and I found like little quotes to help me. But I cheated because I would like find it in the English where I could read it like faster, and then be like, okay, here it is in Spanish, and just type in the Spanish quote for whatever I needed. And I got an A on it.
I don't know.
That was a tough thing.
The one I hated too that we had to read, like I think to I don't know, did you have Boyd, Julie? I think you also had Boyd. He loved Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah.
And I absolutely I hated it because Cormac McCarthy does not use punctuation. And that is his entire style. That he literally like doesn't use periods and like it just like that's the style. Like it's just comma, like, and I hated it so much. And I was like, what is the point of this? Like, this is just pissing me off. Like, it's not like giving me any feelings except frustration. So those were also, I did not like reading his books.
I don't remember that. And
yeah,
I
we
would
had to
have
read
remembered that. So I don't think
All
I
the
read
Pretty
that one.
Horses. I don't remember. It was like one of those Cormac McCarthy books, and I hated it so much.
Katie, was it called Where I Was From? I think I've identified it.
I can't even tell you what it was.
There's this one. I'll read it. I reckon.
Oh yeah, that one.
It's like a history of California from when she was young, and she's basically saying like California is not California anymore because it's changed, and it is really, really boring.
She's just a boomer who.
Yeah, like change doesn't like it's racially changed. Like, what did she say?
I just remember one quote about Gilroy, because like it's more local to like where I'm from, and it said something about like it being like a town with like more history, and then now it's this, and you know, kind of like more shopping and like a theme park. So I think she just thinks it's kind of like selling out basically, but it is like it does have a very judgy tone.
Sounds like it would not be a fun read at all.
Yeah.
Like things change, lady.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt like it was judgy and I didn't like it because also I was just like, well, why are you judging like all these places? So you can't be from everywhere in California as much as you want to. So I don't know. She just kept saying so much had changed from when she was a child. But I'm like, that's the point of life, I guess. I don't know.
And you were like, what a unique perspective. Like, that just is not anyone's experience at all, that like things change over time.
How dare they?
I liked the rest of that class immensely, but not that book. Remember Katie, the professor brought cereal to class?
Oh yeah. He was that again, I think she's supposed to be a good author because I have heard of her author. So I think he just like saw that she wrote a book about California. I don't even think he read it.
I don't think so either, because the rest of his class was really good. And then to like read that book, I'm like, there's so much more. We could have read like Steinbeck or something instead.
Oh my god.
Good night, Crystal.
No.
Night.
Okay. I guess I'll end it. I was just
Wait, I
taking the
can't
scan
leave.
for the what?
How do I close this?
You
I
can't
opened
leave.
up something. I opened up like how to like the blur background or something.
Judith, you could remove her from the
I can remove you. You want me to remove you?
I would do that to my
Yeah.
students sometimes. They're not
Bye.
What the fuck? Where's the edit?
Remove.
No, you did.
Who do you want to report? Oh no. I don't want to report her. You want her not be able to come back next week.
Oh snap! You could block people from joining. That makes sense. You probably have a lot more security features with all the updates now than when I was on Zoom.
I have no idea how this works, but hopefully she can make it next week. If not, we'll have to send me a link. So I'll post the images of the beginnings of the chapters.
Thank
So
you.
it can be easier for everyone else. And I'll see you next week.
See you a cooler week next week.
Yeah. Yes, hopefully it's cooler. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.